Gregory Meeks in New York, who's a senior member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, which is one of the committees that is part of the sort of oversight committees that are involved in the impeachment inquiry.
Correct.
Sort of 30,000-foot view here for a second. Rudy Giuliani and his role. I mean, obviously the impeachment testimony has focused on his role in Ukraine, but if you look at Venezuela, particularly if you look at Turkey, it does seem like this is an individual who is essentially peddling access to the president for profit on behalf of foreign interests.
Well, absolutely. And he's not a lobbyist, and that's why the Southern District Attorney's Office is looking at his transactions. You know, Giuliani's basically, his role basically in this is, he is the attorney to the mob boss. And as a result, he's trying to benefit from being associated with the mob boss.
By the mob boss, you mean the President of the United States?
That's what I mean. And so, therefore, he wants to peddle that for his own personal wealth, as well as then get the dirt that the mob boss has sent him to Ukraine to retrieve.
Right. He's trying to get his beak wet.
That's exactly right.
Well, but here's my question for you as a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee. It does seem to me like there's some role here for congressional oversight on this. I mean, obviously, in the context of the impeachment inquiry, we know a few things. One, the president attempting to abuse his office for personal gain in the context of foreign policy and a rogue channel of foreign policy. But we know that there are essentially backdoor rogue channels in other places as well, Saudi Arabia and Turkey, to name two. Like, is it your job in your committee to get to whether Ukraine is one point in a pattern?
There's a lot, because this is a cesspool. I mean, if you look at every angle of this administration from the day that they took office, actually, you can see, I can tell you how you can see it, because everybody's going to jail.
Right.
Everybody's around them is being indicted and going to jail. And I predict that some more will. Sondland decided that he had to change his testimony because he didn't want to go to jail. And I think you'll hear other folks that will be stepping up as we move forward in this regards, because they're, you know, you see what the mob boss is doing now. He's throwing Giuliani on the bus.
Okay, but here's my more concrete question. There's going to be a report sent from Intel to Judiciary Committee. They're obviously the sort of committee of jurisdiction on impeachment as a kind of legal matter. I guess my question is, do you foresee oversight on a broader set of issues relating to the president's use and abuse of foreign policy as pertains to the impeachment inquiry?
Yes, I think that the Oversight Committee, as well as the Intelligence Committee, will continue to investigate. Adam Schiff has said clearly, even while we are moving the case to the Judiciary Committee for the impeachment inquiry and the impeachment hearings, investigations will not cease. That is the exact job of the Oversight Committee. And so now new chair, Carolyn Maloney, will be continuing those investigations and oversight of what is taking place with the administration and those that are surrounding him. We will continue to do our responsibility.
You've been a New York politician for a minute. You've known Rudy Giuliani, I'm sure, in different capacities. It's not that big a world in New York politics. I mean, what is going on? What goes through your mind when you see him in the roles that he has set himself and the TV appearances he's been making?
Well, look, I wish I could say that it would shock me. But if you really knew Giuliani, he was on his way out. And the unfortunate tragedy that took place in 9/11 is the only thing that saved him and made his, image a little different.
His reputation.
His reputation. But he is who he's always been.
You think this is the Rudy that you've known your whole life?
Absolutely. Just as the president is who he has always been. They are the same individuals. They have never changed.
New Yorkers to the bone, both of them, aren't they?
Well, we know them. We've seen them. I know. Look, when you talk about the president, for example, the Republicans know who he is. All you got to do is roll back the videotape.
Yeah.
And you'll see that Lindsey Graham, you'll see that Ted Cruz and Mitt Romney and Nick Perry, they all told you who he was. And he's proven to be just that. Now, what's shocking when the videotape shows up and then you see how these folks are trying to defend him, it's, as far as history is concerned, they're going to look foolish. Because there's one thing that is going on. The camera of history is rolling. And people will be looking at this. And that's why I wanted to make sure that I'm on this show and as many other shows so that the camera of history rolls to know what my position is and what we take. And when you look at Lindsey Graham, who apparently has now become the biggest hypocrite that there is, because if you listen to his words, I mean, you can just put up the videotape of his words about Trump and his words about Biden, and then look what he's doing now. It's all, if it wasn't so, serious, it would be laughable. You'd think this was a comedian.
Yeah, it is crazy, the turnabout that we've seen. Congressman Gregory Meeks, thank you for your time tonight. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Good to be with you.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.